Guys, have you noticed how this whole affordable housing thing is being pushed on Kenyans? The president is at construction sites almost every other week, talking about new blocks that are coming up. Now, even people like Oparanya are telling you to leave your rural home, forget where your ancestors are buried, and move into these government houses. Actually, let's take a look at what he had to say. This is him, right? Let's listen in.
Sasa mjue ya kwamba haya manyumba ni yenu. Msifikirie haya manyumba ni ya watu wa Nairobi. Hii ni affordable housing ambayo nyinyi mnaweza kujipanga na kununua hizi nyumba kwa bei ile ya chini, unalipa polepole. Tunataka nyinyi muje muishi kwa hizi manyumba. Mwache yale mashamba kule nyumbani, tupande mimea ya kusaidia watu wetu. Usilie kaburi hii ni ya mama, kaburi hii ni ya baba. Wewe saa mtoto, uite mama yako, uite baba yako, ndio mkumbuke hapo. Hapana mpaka uwe unakaa hapo, unaona kaburi yake, ndio unamkumbuka. Kwa hivyo Kenya inaendelea mbele, na rais ameona mbele, kuona ya kwamba inji kuendelea mbele paka uanze na hatua moja.
I think for me, what would have been fun to see would be Oparanya also telling guys, hata mimi nilitoka kwa shamba yangu, nikaacha kaburi ya mama na baba yangu, nikapata watoto, na nimehamia hizi affordable housing. I think that would actually have been fun to see. Him walking the talk. You know, that is him. And you guys, you see where the conversation is going? There's just too much focus and urgency around this. Almost like it's something bigger than we are being told, right? And yes, you are not wrong. It is bigger than it looks. Kenya's affordable housing program is not just a local government project. It's part of a much wider global plan. And today, I want us to connect the dots globally. This whole affordable housing connects directly to the World Bank, international lenders, and then ongoing push to formalize how Africans live, borrow, and own property. Tuko pamoja until hapo. In simple terms, it's about bringing African housing systems into the global financial structure, where homes are treated not just as places we live, but as part of an investment network that benefits big institutions as much as, or even more than, the people themselves. Let's go back to 2019. The World Bank gave Kenya a loan of about 25 billion shillings, thereabout, to support what they called the Affordable Housing Finance Project. The idea sounded very good. You know, help ordinary Kenyans, especially those earning average or low salaries, to get decent homes. That is a beautiful idea. But that money did not also come freely. And understand, this is a loan that we have to pay. This loan also came with conditions and a plan on how it's going to be used. Part of that plan was to create the Kenya Mortgage Refinance Company, which was supposed to make it easier for banks to give long-term home loans, you know. It was also tied to the government's Big Four agenda, where housing was one of the main priorities, still is. Over time, though, that focus has changed. Instead of just helping Kenyans get homes, the project started being seen as a business opportunity, something that banks, developers, and foreign investors could make money from. So, what began as a social plan to give people homes slowly turned into a financial project that fit the interests of big investors more than the needs of ordinary Kenyans. So, ordinary Kenyans, affordable housing is not for you. And this is where the story starts to connect to the bigger global agenda, because today we gotta connect the dots. Because when the World Bank gives you money, it is not just giving you the cash. Take the cash, go and do whatever you want. They also give you that money and tell you specific ways of doing things. They have a model they want countries to follow, one that focuses on banks, mortgages, and large developers being at the center of housing. The problem is that model does not fit how most Kenyans live or earn. This model assumes people have stable incomes, access to loans, and the ability to pay for houses through the banking system. But the truth is, many Kenyans, and you guys know this, we survive on informal jobs. And many Kenyans don't even qualify for mortgages at all. So their plan might have looked good, but it also doesn't work for majority of Kenyan citizens. According to both the World Bank and Habitat for Humanity, Kenya needs around 250,000 new homes every year to keep up with demand. But in reality, only about 50,000 houses are built each year. That means the gap keeps growing, and today, Kenya is short of more than 2 million homes. So there is a need. But this same report also shows that over 60% of people living in towns and cities stay in informal settlements because that is what they can afford. So yes, as we said, there is a demand. The housing problem is real. But here is what doesn't add up. Even with this shortage, most Kenyans are not rushing to buy the so-called affordable houses from the government. And it's not because people don't want better homes. It's because the prices and payment plans don't match what ordinary Kenyans actually earn. And nothing about these houses is affordable. Let's start there. In Nairobi alone, units under this whole affordable housing have been priced between around a mic and 3 mic. Sometimes even more, far above what the average Kenyan earns. And since only a tiny fraction of Kenyans, less than 3% actually, have access to mortgage financing, the entire system is built on a foundation that excludes the majority. Please now understand, you are not the target audience. So, why are politicians pushing this housing agenda so hard? Because to them, it is more than just about homes. First, it has become a political project and a symbol of progress. When they are campaigning, they will keep singing and telling you how they've built these affordable houses that no one is buying into. But they will use that for optics, for campaign. Also, you have to understand it is one of the main pillars of the Big Four agenda. And now, it's at the heart of President Ruto's administration. Every new construction site, every launch, every time he's there cutting ribbons, every time he's there talking to you guys, he knows this is proof that the government is working. And I'm telling you, wait till he starts campaigning again. He's going to talk to you about those affordable housing from here to Timbuktu. But there's another side that we really need to focus on. Hizo ni za kawaida. Now, pay attention to this. This whole affordable housing program also opens the door to new loans, foreign investment, and global recognition. So, well, it's been presented as a way to help Kenyans. It also keeps the government in good standing with international lenders and development partners. In simple terms, the housing program helps Kenya fit into the global investment system where projects are shaped to appeal to donors and financiers, even if they don't always match what citizens truly demand. Hizi vitu zitatumiwa huko nje, they will go and write proposals and use these to get loans. And you can clearly see also how this is being financed. Every month, you are cutting housing levy from people's salaries, even though most of them will never actually qualify for a house under this program. At the same time, private developers are being given tax breaks or incentives to encourage them to join the project. And on top of that, the government is reaching out to foreign investors and pension funds to buy into what they are now calling affordable housing bonds. So, while ordinary Kenyans are paying through deductions, you have big players there, both local and foreign, who are being positioned to benefit the most from the system, a system you will never benefit from. And this is not just happening in Kenya. This is a part of a global trend. All over the world, basic human needs, we are talking about housing, healthcare, water, and even education, are slowly being turned into investment products. Ordinary people are the ones who are funding these systems through taxes, the levies or monthly payments. But the real ownership and control will stay with institutions, things like banks, private companies, or government partnerships. Everything ends up managed through contracts and long-term deals, meaning the system benefits those who finance it more than those who use it. And because all this is packaged as sustainable or inclusive, it becomes very hard to question it. The moment you raise concerns, you are made to look like you are against development. Even right now, someone might be watching and they're like, no, you are just against development. But please, the real question we should be asking ourselves is, if we are calling this progress, it's progress for who? If Kenyans are the ones who are funding a system they don't actually own, can we really call that progress? Let's break it down. The Kenya Mortgage Refinance Company makes sure developers have steady flow of money. The public-private partnership guarantee profits for investors. The housing levy ensures the government has a constant stream of cash coming in from you. When you put all of that together, you can see the bigger picture. And this feeds into the global goal of formalizing African economies, where global finance gains access to new ways of making money from our basic needs. So, when you hear affordable housing, think of it less as a social project, and more as an economic instrument, a way to keep countries like Kenya credit-worthy, debt compliant, and market aligned, even if that means ordinary citizens end up paying forever for homes they will never truly own. And that's really what people mean when they say, own nothing and be happy. It doesn't happen through force. It happens very quietly through policies and nice-sounding programs like affordable housing that promise development and inclusion. But behind that language, what is really taking shape is control. Control over how people live, what they can own, and who truly benefits from it all. Because the more you depend on the system for housing, healthcare, or even education, the less independent you become. And maybe that's the real plan here. Keep citizens hopeful, compliant, and endlessly paying, while true ownership shifts. But also, it doesn't stop at housing, guys. And that is why I want to address what Oparanya said. When you start controlling where people live, you also start controlling how they eat, how they grow food, and how they relate to their own land. Let's go back to us, Africans. Here in our own continent, owning a home was never about, titles or even paperwork. It was about family. It was about inheritance. It was about us being communal. Your father's land was your security, and then your mother's kitchen where food was made was the source of life. Families built homes on land that fed them. They also grew their own food, kept animals, shared harvests, and passed that land down from one generation to the next. Are we together? That is how our ancestors survived, through connections, not contracts or being forced into houses they can't even fit with their families. But today, you can see that ancestral model is slowly being replaced by urban dependency. People are being encouraged to abandon rural land, like Oparanya said, and move into affordable units. These are just concrete blocks that are financed by foreign loans, that are built on government land that may even be scandalous in future, and they are regulated through rent-to-own systems. That is not just modernization. That is systematic control. And we are deep in it. Kenya is deep in it. Because once you move away from your ancestral home, you also leave behind your independence. You are leaving behind your soil, you are leaving behind your food, and your ability to live without depending on these markets. Now, once you come back in the city, you start depending on supermarkets instead of your farms. You are having processed food instead of growing your own food. And you are consuming imported oils instead of using what our ancestors used. You know, you can also no longer plant what you eat. You have to buy everything, tomatoes, onions, everything. And the moment someone controls what you eat or buy, they also start controlling you. Experts who study land and housing policies have also raised concerns about this trend. They say that urban housing programs can easily end up putting too much control in the hands of governments and big institutions. When people are moved into mortgage or rent-to-own based housing in towns, the state automatically gains more control over how land is used and how cities are planned. And that slowly changes everything. It will change how communities grow food, how we collect water, even protect our ancestral land rights. We won't have any rights. And that is why when global institutions talk about development, they don't stop at housing. They also talk about things like urban transformation, land formalization, and food security through what? Supply chains. On the surface, to some people, this sounds good. Why do we need the land, Lynn? Why do we need it? Let us all come and live in these smart cities, maybe. This affordable housing, this is progress. But guys, when you look closely, these policies slowly centralize control. Keyword, centralize control. Because once everything is formalized and monitored, the state and its lenders will gain full visibility and authority over almost every part of your life. Land, food, water, and even energy. They have you right there. If most Kenyans end up living in houses which are built also through foreign loans, and then you are also eating food controlled by multinational companies, and you are using electricity supplied by foreign-owned farms, then where exactly is our freedom? Why are we calling this progress? Because at this point, we've moved from owning our land to leasing our entire lives. By the way, our lives are at stake. Even the way our grandparents defined wealth is being rewritten for us. They are writing it all over. Our ancestors believed wealth meant cows, land, family, and food. Things that you can see, things that you can touch, and things that you can pass down to your children. But today, you have multinationals or the global north redefining wealth through mortgages and lifestyle. How do you guys live? You own an apartment, you are wealthy. And this is an entirely different system. One where your whole dignity depends on this paperwork. And for you to survive, you also have to comply. Remember, guys, when you separate people from their land, you are also separating them from their power. You can then control what they eat, where they live, how they move, and even how they think. Even the water you give them, you get to control that. Let's not lie to ourselves. Housing is not just infrastructure, it's social engineering. If we as Africans don't pay attention, our ancestral homes, the same ones that built our culture, the same ones that we could bend on spiritually, will be replaced by these concrete boxes that are being financed by World Bank, and the ones that will also be managed by policies we did not even write for ourselves. We have to be careful. When a politician comes and tells you leave your land, come and live in these houses, the ones they keep insisting they are affordable but they are not affordable, please ask them one important question. Excuse me, where are you living in these affordable housing segments, you know? Where is yours? Have you left your farm? Normalize stopping these people when they talk BS. Normalize looking at someone like Oparanya in those meetings when he's telling you to forget where your ancestors are buried. Ask him, have you forgotten where yours is buried? Have you left your farm? Let these people not play with you. There is so much power in our lands and in our soil. They know, by the way, the moment you guys are convinced that land and soil is not important, they've got you. They are going to control the rest of the things in your lives. Why have a whole agenda that is not even suiting the normal mwananchi? Unless you are pleasing someone else. Because the person you are pleasing is not Kenyans. You are actually pleasing someone else. Or I need loans. And I need this to access these loans. And then every time on people's salaries, you are taking a percentage of something they will never see. Stop fooling people. Oparanya, pack your things, go to that affordable housing, go get yourself a unit there, live there with your family, the whole of your family. And then now have us come and film actually the whole process of you leaving your farm, disregarding where your ancestors are buried, and you moving in to one of these affordable units. We are actually even willing to contribute for you right now so that you can get yourself a unit, and we document this whole process. Stop lying to Kenyans. You will go there telling Kenyans to forget where their ancestors are buried, and you've even fenced where yours are buried. Stop lying to Kenyans. Kenyans don't board this thing. There's a reason affordable housing is not appealing to Kenyans. Because number one, it's not affordable. We don't even get where this thing, Uhuru Ruto government, who asked for this thing? Who asked for affordable housing? And if it's affordable housing, make it affordable. Give Kenyans these units at 50,000 Kenya shillings. At least that one, even if you are a border guy, you are able to save 200. If really yours is to sort out the housing crisis that we need, then make these houses affordable, and then we will believe you. Once, by the way, we hear these houses are going for 20,000, maybe now we can actually, we can come here and say good things about this whole affordable housing. We know the end goal is to have this whole thing fit into the global agenda, and we can see right through it. But me, that's me. I don't know what your opinion is. Very much interested in it on the comment section. Would love to know, are you boarding? Are you boarding? Do you actually think this affordable housing is a good thing for our country? Do you think we need this right now? Do you think it's affordable? May I respect everyone on the comment section. Please disagree with me, agree. Tell me why you think this does not fit into the global agenda. I'm willing to listen, but let's have a conversation on the comment section. But that's it from me today. I hope I get to see you guys tomorrow, but I just want to say thank you and welcome to our new subscribers. We have a lot of new subscribers here, so thank you for subscribing. You got us to 1.43 million subscribers just this week, so that is not something we take for granted. Shukran sana, and to everyone that is contributing towards independent journalism, really appreciate you. Share your thoughts with me, as I said, on the comment section, and I hope I get to see you guys tomorrow. All right, bye.